So, this is my day 4 update. I had my meeting with the state. It went abysmally. State's doing. My hunger strike is now certain to extend at least until next Tuesday or Wednesday when I've been told I'll hear back from them. And based on how this meeting went, I don't really have high hopes next Tuesday or Wednesday. It's possible we're going all the way. It's even possible that they will attempt to certify me and I will have to make a mess at a very public jury trial for them. But Tuesday or Wednesday is our next contact, and perhaps all they needed was to see my resolve. Which is funny, I thought they'd have seen it when I killed House Bill 1253, or when I killed House Bill 1386, both measures to reduce the rights of my people, and both measures which would have directly threatened my ability to carry out this action. Both measures killed by me early in the chess game. So, basically, here's what I heard from the state. The governor's office is uninterested in remedying an action which was undertaken by their own executive in violation of the Constitution, based on what essentially amounts to a bullshit excuse. And that excuse is contradicted by the actions of prior administrations. Now, Governor Hickenlooper has a policy of issuing no pardons. He has issued none in his entire career. And in my case, I never even wanted a pardon. I wanted a court remedy, but because of the particulars of the plea agreement that Mr. Shearer coerced, there is no court remedy. Now, Mr. Shearer claimed the flag of the state, and he claimed he was acting with the Department of Social Services, which falls under the executive. So, it is incumbent upon the executive to get over itself and issue a remedy. Far more distressing, though, since the question of a remedy for me only affects me, is the fact that they have not even begun to look at the issue of the fact that other kids will have been similarly affected by Mr. Shearer's actions and by Mr. Shearer's claim, the policies and general practices of Mental Health Center of Boulder County, Inc. Again, it's likely there are countless kids who have been affected, and they have not even attempted to initiate an investigation of Boulder County Mental Health Center, Inc., nor have they attempted to locate any of the other kids it happened to. And as I said, confidentiality keeps me from knowing their names. So, all in all, this meeting I was so looking forward to, in the hopes that it would end the hunger strike, turned out to just basically be a three-ring circus of excuses and crap from the state. I explained to them how they were in checkmate, how the best they could do would get them checkmated after it lost them their most valuable pieces, and how they still owe me that remedy. They still owe an investigation, they owe criminal charges against Mr. Shearer, and they owe it to the dignity and integrity of the state of Colorado to find the other kids this happened to. They can remedy my case with the pardon process because they have the proof in their hands, and then they can find those other kids, and whether they want to do it through the pardon process or having found them through a statutory procedure which they create is really up to them. After all, once they've found those cases, they will obviously need time to vet the evidence. I imagine it will take multiple full-time personnel to go through the stack of papers, but that's what investigators are for. I'm unimpressed with Mr. Finlaw, Executive Counsel. However, I believe he was acting under instruction from the executive to yield nothing, and I'm hopeful that those instructions can be changed in short order. I've been actually having a great deal of luck with Patrick Fox. However, I'm extremely disturbed that he hasn't even initiated speaking to his counsel yet about getting criminal charges filed against Mr. Shearer or about getting Boulder County Mental Health Center investigated. Getting Boulder County Mental Health Center investigated is a simple act of diligence by the state executive, which they have been deficient in. As far as getting criminal charges filed against Mr. Shearer, the duty is incumbent upon them because Mr. Shearer professed to act in their names and they have knowledge of a crime, and as we all know, mental patients can't get that investigation started. It's a lot like reporting a rape. No one gives a shit. So, that's where we're left. I've made it clear to them that I will begin advertising and reach out to media if I don't hear something a lot more reasonable back at the next meeting we're scheduled to have, which is Tuesday or Wednesday. They wanted all week. I told them they couldn't have it, and so they said Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm hopeful that at this point they've worked out that my resolve is sound. Yes, I was hopeful this would be over, but basically what that translates to is I had far more hope for the state of Colorado than was reasonable. Anyways, with what happened, the guarantee is that the hunger strike will go at least to 10 days. The longest I've done in any continuous stretch so far is 7 days. What I did for my practice run is I did a private 7-day hunger strike. I waited 30 days, and then I did the public 7-day hunger strike. And while I was waiting between those two, I went and got the confession from Mr. Shearer, because I anticipated the only way to get the state to remedy this was to get Mr. Shearer's confession on tape and to make it the executive's problem. Now, I always knew what Mr. Shearer had done, but I didn't think anyone would believe me. And out of desperation, I tried the gambit of getting Mr. Shearer to confess. I interviewed him, and, well, I don't think he wanted to. He was kind enough to confess quite thoroughly and implicate his team. This was 3 years ago. But anyways, I've done 14 days of hunger striking out of 45 days in 2 discrete 7-day segments before. This will run longer than any I have done. But know this, my resolve is absolute. If it is necessary, I will die on the executive's doorstep, the doorstep of Governor John Hickenlooper, for the crime that Mr. Hickenlooper would commit of refusing to remedy an action of his own executive, which is a constitutional violation. That is not acceptable. I need better from the state. His chief of staff, Ms. Roxanne White, has been telling everyone they've been doing all they could. I simply don't believe that. The meeting I went to today suggests they have not been. I'm certainly hopeful that they will. I want them to live up to their word. I want the state to do that which is reasonable, just, and proper. And I have gone out of my way to make that possible for the state. I have even gone so far as to offer to settle any claims they're worried I'd bring against them for nominal damages in the amount of $50. I won't waive anything because I was forced to waive things as a child. But I will easily take their fear of cutting a big check out of this if they will give me justice, and if they will find the other kids this happened to and get them justice, and if they will prosecute the guilty and investigate even the mental health center, not just Mr. Shearer. I happen to believe Mr. Shearer's allegations. I know they'd like to paint them as false. I know they'd like to paint them as Mr. Shearer trying to cover his butt for what he's done, but I believe Mr. Shearer was acting with the authority of the Boulder County Mental Health Center, and Mr. Shearer certainly says so. And Dr. Fox has acknowledged this fact. So, this may still actually be a little upset. I waited hours to post this update. It's raining outside. We might as well be in a Hemingway novel. But if I'd posted it sooner, it would just be a string of curse words and then the governor's name. I'm hopeful that there will be an amicable remedy. I'm hopeful that they will go to the effort of finding a way to identify these situations, seeing as how even when someone like me blows the whistle, they refuse to do anything. They still refuse to do anything. And so I'm hopeful that the state learns its lesson here and starts to meaningfully uphold the notion that even people with a mental illness are entitled to fundamental constitutional rights, and that when those rights are violated, we are entitled to a restoration of our status before the law. It's not negotiable. It's not an option. They will either restore to me what they took, the executive branch, Mr. Shearer directly. They will find everyone else they took it from and restore it to them too. They will investigate thoroughly both the mental health center and Mr. Shearer. They will return, or rather they will see Mr. Shearer prosecuted criminally by the only means available, federal criminal charges. And they will find some way to study this issue, which the only reason they're even aware of it is because of my extraordinary actions, to get proof and present them with it, even though they'd rather not deal with it. And so they're obligated to find the other situations this might be happening in and do something about them. Anyway, this is my update. It is day 4. The hunger strike will be going to at least 10, maybe terminal, maybe a lot more than 10, I don't know. But what I do know is this: Dr. Fox, Mr. Finlaw, Miss White, Mr. Governor, I cannot back down, because it is the only way that these issues will be addressed, and it's not just in my name, it's in the name of the other kids it happened to. I think I communicated at this meeting while you tried to give me excuses that you were in checkmate. I'm asking you to do the right thing. Please. I'm a registered independent. I always vote Democrat. I'm a little afraid of Bob Beaupre. But if Bob Beaupre will discharge the duties of office that you refuse to, Mr. Governor, I will endorse him, and I will endorse him publicly. And I'd hate to do that, because I'm queer, and Republicans scare me. So I'm asking you to stop cowering and do the right thing. This is a question of whether you're willing to demonstrate moral courage and remedy a wrong that was carried out in the name of your own executive branch, the one for which you are currently responsible. The choice is yours, but I will force the issue, and I will force the issue, if necessary, by passively and non-violently giving up my life, if that is required of me. And sir, if that's required of me, you're a goddamned asshole. Day 4 update. Peace.